using visualization and imagination within Neigong and internal alchemy practices, neidan, is a bit controversial at the moment. I've noticed that in my own online teaching program, I have a chat forum, and some of the students have been talking about it. And should we use visualization? Should we not use visualization? When do we use imagination, and whatnot? It's a great question. I think it's something that should be discussed. However, every lineage is going to have their own way of doing things. Every teacher, if they have a complete understanding of their material, and they've gotten results using their material, then and they're teaching you, then I would just follow what they're doing. Especially if it's an established lineage. Lineages are great. I love lineages because they have generations of wisdom that have been passed down, and a lot of people have been working on this stuff. So why invent the wheel, right? So, and I find that different lineages have their own way of approaching, and so they'll have, if they use visualization or if they don't use visualization, they'll have other things in there that are in the right place for them. And so what I'm going to talk about here today, I wouldn't let it affect you if you're with another teacher, right? I think this is more for students within my lineage that I'm teaching, students of Wang Liping and the Dragon Gate lineage of Internal Alchemy. So visualization, do it or don't. Don't visualize. Don't use imagination. Yeah, very rarely. There are some outlying cases where we will use imagination or visualization, but which we'll get into. But even then, there's the caveat that you always know you're using visualization. It's not real. So let's unpack this a bit. And I'm not even sure how to say visualization in Chinese. I learn everything in Chinese, and so it's very far from what Master Wang Liping teaches us and what I teach. What we're working with in our lineage and working with neidan and the broader practice is we're mostly working with yi-nian. We're working with our awareness. So yi-nian is a very, very useful tool that if we can figure out, we'll do everything we need it to do, right? So this is just awareness. There's different, we can split yi-nian into yi and nian and kind of look at it as a technical term, but we'll save that for another video, right? So for right now, just yi-nian. We're working with yi-nian. And by working with yi-nian, we can, where the yi arrives, the shen arrives. Where the shen arrives, the qi arrives. Right? So shen is kind of the energy associated with our conscious activity, our cognitive activity, and our senses, and our qi, right? So this is energy. I'm quite happy with the E word, and so we're working with these things, and yi-nian is what mobilizes and moves our qi through the shen within the body. That's what we're working with. Very often within our lineage, right, we coordinate, in the beginning anyways, we use breathing, coordinate with our yi-nian and some sort of body thing, maybe a contraction, usually a contraction, expansion in certain parts of the body, or the energy body, right? So we could be contracting and expanding the lower dantian. Just breathe in, yi-nian on dantian, the lower field contract, breathe out, lower field expands. That could just easily be your liver, your heart, the kidneys, or the whole body pores. So we do a lot of pore breathing in our lineage. Again, we just put the yi-nian onto the whole body pores, breathe in, contract body pores, breathe out, body pores expand, right? And so I've had students sort of say, but isn't that visualization? Aren't we visualizing that? Ideally, no. In the beginning, using imagination and visualization, it can be helpful sometimes to get our yi-nian into the right place. But it's really important to know that that's what you're doing. It's what if you're visualizing energy coming into your body pores and releasing out of your body pores, it's really important you know that's imagination. That's not real, right? Feel it. Feel the Yin. Learn to control the Yin, the awareness, right? Learn to contract the awareness first. Once you start having sensations of qi, then work with qi. For sure, follow the guided instructions to do that. But again, that's a specific sensation. If you can see qi, then great, you can see qi, right? In our lineage, we also use inner seeing and inner hearing a lot. And that's a great way to work with awareness. But again, inner seeing is not visualization. Inner seeing is not visualization. To visualize with inner seeing would be a mistake. And take you down the wrong path. Now, what we're doing with inner seeing and inner hearing is we are looking, our eyes are closed, and we're looking inside our body. You can look outside as well. We're looking, usually we start with looking inside the body at a certain area. So we follow the guided instructions. There's a process we're following. And we just look and see what's there. If we don't see anything, we don't see anything. It's black. And for the first while, it might just be black. And so that's okay. So just get comfortable with just looking at black. Or just hearing nothing. Focus. What's there is there. If we don't see anything, then we don't see anything. So now the issue with imagination and visualization is that it comes from the small self, the ego self. It comes from the character that we've set up in this world to get things done and survive, right? And spiritual practice, spiritual cultivation, at least Taoist cultivation, is about transcending that, the small self, including the raw physical body, right? And so if our practice is built on imagination, visualization, it's built where I'm going to see my dantian by just imagining it there. That's built on the lower self, and it's just going to get us into trouble. It really is. I mean, it has its uses to survive in kind of three-dimensional time and space reality, but when we're practicing, when we're cultivating, we want to get beyond that. And so that's the main reason we don't use it. Especially with practices like the microcosmic orbit, using imagination with the microcosmic orbit, even just yin. Even here, there's certain places where we want to even be careful just using yin, because we want to actually be circulating qi, or a different kind of qi, different kinds of qi, right? So even yin we need to be careful about, and that can lead to it can get us into trouble, right? We don't want to mess, because we're working with qi in the body, and these practices can get dangerous if we do the wrong thing, right? So we want to be aware of that. It's much better to not listen to the mind too much. Follow the guided instructions from the teacher. Follow the instructions. Just focus within, and just allow whatever processes to happen are there to happen. If we try to control the process too much, we're going to get into trouble, and it won't bear any fruit. We're not going to get anywhere with it. Like when you see the light of our spirit, you don't want to visualize that light. You actually want to see it. Like it's something we can actually see. We don't need to visualize it. It just takes time and practice, and have the right methods, right? Visualization, at least within our lineage, we don't do it. And if we do it, it's just to prime the pump of a practice, just to get our yin into a certain area. It might even be outside the body. It could be inside the body. It could be get the body pores going. Sometimes with my students in the online program, and in my book, The Taoist Alchemy of Wang Liping, Volume 1, The first technique I teach is called inner seeing, because I think it's a great way of getting the neidan onto the body. And ironically, for that one, I do allow students to visualize to start with, as long as they realize that's what they're doing. But the best thing to do is called a body scan. So you eyes closed, and you kind of start at the top of your head. A lot of traditions have this one, right? And then you kind of come down with the eyes closed and just you can imagine the outside of the body. But the best way to do that that technique is just to look, right? So inner seeing is not about visualization. It's just your eyes are closed, you're looking, and what will happen is your mind might just unconsciously start filling in details. You might see glimpses of things. Allow that process to happen. That's fine. So we're not controlling to say we don't see anything, but just we're not actively creating something with our stupid ego mind. It never ends well. And that could be a whole other video talking about all that stuff. So yeah, so there is sometimes we use imagination a little bit to kind of get things going, but in general, yeah, don't do it. For our lineage, right? For other lineages, I don't know, maybe visualization, they're using it in a different way, in a way that works for them. Or they have other things at the same time that are happening with the visualization, like other methods or techniques that somehow are there's a harmony that works with those methods, and they're getting results. You know, it's just so much I don't know. There's so many lineages out there and so many ways of doing internal work. All I can tell you is from my own experience and my experience training with my teacher. Yeah, figure out what neidan is. Figure out what that is. And then from there, figure out qi. Qi is really, that's kind of like the main part of what we're doing. Figure that out, begin working with that, cultivating that. And that's enough. It takes time to get there. And so I think sometimes visualization seems like a shortcut. Hey, there's something going on. I can visualize it, you know. I can see my dantian. It's like, no, dantian is like a real thing that we build. It's a substance. What I mean by real is it's a physical substance that exists. You know, you can't miss it when it gets going. Okay, so there's my 2 cents on visualization.